Hello, hello, and welcome to an intuitive reading today with a channeled message for the highest good of the collective. We got the Knight of Pentacles and the King of Swords. And looking at the Knight of Pentacles, I'm thinking of the way that money influences our world and how money sometimes is put before the greatest good of all, the benefit of all. Money seems to be what makes the world go round at this time, and how there's so much fighting, disagreement, and at the root of it all is ultimately money. With the King of Swords, there's a butterfly over his head, and that makes me think of transformation, a shift that is to come. And for the world to truly change, there must be a change in priorities, a shift away from money being the core of what drives decisions and actions in this world to humanity being at the core of what drives decisions and actions in this country. I'm getting the Three of Pentacles, and it kind of brings forward the question of where did all of this start? How did all of this start? Where did this love of money and priority of money originate? Originally, money was a thing of status. Money became something where people measured their value. And there's something really important about that message about self-worth and value, and where that really comes from. And at some point along the way, it became a way that people measured their self-worth, their status in the world, their worthiness, rather than their character, their heart, the things that really matter. And that came about as things were divided. Rich people and poor people were looked down on as less than, as less worthy in the world, rather than seeing through to the truth of who someone is at their core. Are they a good person? And it became viewed as a negative thing to not have money, to be dependent on others for handouts, if you want to call it that. And the scales became unbalanced. Wars have been fought over money. People have died over money, as there are people who sit on their throne, privileged, and in some ways unaware of the struggles of other people. We began to separate into individuals rather than seeing humanity as a collective, as all of us being connected, that when one person succeeds, we all succeed. When one person struggles, we all struggle. We became very separated, and the further apart humanity grew, the more divided they became and the more individualistic they became. People in these different groups or social classes became so unaware of how others outside of their social class lived. And at some point, there needs to be an intervention. There needs to be an intervention from spirit to make this shift, because the only way that we will succeed going forward is to balance the scales once again, to take care of the least fortunate among us, the least fortunate financially among us. And really, it relates to health as well. The least fortunate as far as health. When we begin to take care of those people, we begin to balance the scales. When everyone begins to think beyond just themselves, just what they can gain and benefit from every situation. And things are starting to shift. More people are starting to look at the world like that. The Judgment card and the Five of Cups. This is a time of judgment in the world. This is a time of self-reflection for everyone to look at themselves and question themselves and how they think beyond themselves, how they help others in society, how generous are they with what they have. Are you willing to give for the benefit of someone else who you don't personally know? Are you willing to share? It's interesting. Sharing is something core and fundamental that we teach to young children when they're developing, the importance of sharing your toys, sharing what you have. We punish children for not sharing with one another. And yet, as adults, we've become a society that doesn't know how to share, that isn't willing to share, that is very much mine, mine, mine. And that's not everyone, but so many people and so many people in power have adopted this type of mindset of what's mine is mine. The Hanged Man, we're really in a bit of a holding pattern at the moment as we kind of work our way through this awakening, as we wait for more people to continue to wake up. Because as more people wake up, things will shift. But it's important for those who already have awakened to continue to stand in their truth, to continue to set the example for others, to set the tone for what they want to see. And that is how we create a new world, a new earth, a new society, is by each individual making choices in their lives to be different, to set an example for others. And it will take quite a bit of time for things to shift. But if all of us can just be authentic, follow our hearts, do what we know is right in our hearts, be generous, be kind to others, it will set a tone and an example for others that will surely follow. But it will take time. It will take time. In the Five of Cups, I'm getting a feeling of disappointment. That there's disappointment in the world today. There's disappointment in the collective. There's disappointment in what our society looks like right now. There is a sadness and a heaviness. But again, we are all connected. We are not separate from one another. We are all parts of the whole. And it's important to understand that this is what we have done to ourselves, even if you individually have not contributed to these problems in the world. We, together as a collective, this is what we have created. And it's important to understand that and accept that. And even the people we disagree with and the people that we see as bad or evil or wrong, we stop the hatred and judgment towards one another. And that is really difficult to do when there's so much ugliness going on in the world. It's hard not to have judgment towards that. But whether we all want to believe it or not, again, we are all connected, even to the lowest among us. We are all God experiencing itself. Every person here, every living being has a piece of God inside of them. And in that way, we are all connected to one another. And so we, as a whole, have created this reality. And it is equally important for we, as a whole, to create a new reality going forward. So when that disappointment and sadness and discouragement sets in, it's important to work through that to get to a point of acceptance that this is where we are at right now. And all of us chose to come here in this time. This is one of the most pivotal moments in our history. It is a turning point, and there is a finite number of us on Earth right now. And it's important to remember that being here on Earth now is such a privilege. The odds that of all the souls that we are the ones who got the opportunity to come here now. So many people see it as some sort of punishment. Why are we here? Why do we have to live through this? You know, things are terrible in this world that we live in, but the fact that we chose and we were chosen to come here now at this time on Earth in humanity's history is such an incredible privilege. It is a massive opportunity to do something big and impactful with our lives. We are part of this shift. We are part of this change to come. It is through the actions of each of us, through our decisions every day, that the earth will shift, that humanity will shift into a better future where all people are treated equally, where all people are treated with kindness and taken care of, where people have their basic needs met, where we don't have poverty and homelessness and hunger and illness, where we don't live in a world where those things exist, and if you don't have money, you can't access what you need for your basic survival. There will come a time in humanity where we are able to get all of us out of survival mode. So to be here now on this earth is a privilege to be able to contribute to that future. It is a huge responsibility that each of us has to be here now. I encourage each of you to think about that and think about how are you using your lifetime here? How are you using your time here? And that's not to put pressure on anyone, but it is to encourage you to truly make the most of it, to understand the responsibility of that, to understand the opportunity that you have, and to make decisions to make the most of it. And it doesn't mean that you have to do grand, massive things. It truly starts with number one, going within and doing the necessary healing work for yourself. And as you change and shift the inside and heal the inside, that ripples outward. As you go within and heal, healing will show outside as well. It will shift your reality. And as each person makes that choice to do so, the ripple effects are tremendous, and all of reality begins to shift. So it starts with number one, choosing to go within, choosing to heal, learning to be authentic. Again, even though it is a big responsibility to be here, the responsibility is to yourself first, to address the needs of your soul, and that is to heal and to live authentically in your truth, whatever that looks like for you. Because as you live authentically in your truth and you be exactly the person that you are inside, that you do what brings you joy, that you live in your truth unapologetically, you give permission to others to do the same. You set the example for others to know that it's safe to be authentic. And there is a radiance that you give off when you're truly living in your authenticity and in your joy. And again, that ripples outward. That joy. Think about if every person in this world healed themselves and lived authentically and did what brought them the most joy and freedom. It would be a completely different world that we live in if people didn't make decisions out of fear. People followed their heart and made decisions out of what brings joy to their heart, not out of fear of not having enough or fear of being judged or fear of not having your needs met. Think of how different this world would be. And that is exactly what is needed. That is exactly the formula to get us to a new future. And that will take many years and much time, but the time to start is now. And there are many people in this world who have been doing this work for years, and the numbers are growing, but it is important that as each person begins to wake up and begins to realize these concepts, that each person makes this individual choice to make these changes moving forward. We are the change makers. We are here to shift this earth and this society into one of love and abundance in the future. But it takes making that decision now and taking the first step. I encourage you all to prioritize your healing, prioritize yourselves, and begin to live as authentically as you possibly can. Your purpose here is to just to be exactly who you were born to be, whatever that looks like for you, and do it joyfully as often as you can every single day. That's all I have for you today. Thank you for listening. Blessings and love.